The carburetor on my '78 Camaro was giving me hell that Tuesday morning when the phone rang. I had grease under my fingernails and was wrestling with a stubborn float chamber adjustment when I saw the Denver area code. Figured it was another spam call about my car's extended warranty, but something made me wipe my hands on a shop rag and answer. "Mr. Richard Pearson, that's me. But if you're selling something, sir, this is Attorney Phillips from Morrison and Associates. I have urgent documents regarding your late wife's estate." I set down my wrench. Margaret had been gone 2 years now, and we'd settled everything back then. Our Phoenix house, her small savings account, that reliable old Subaru she drove to her teaching job. Nothing complicated. Nothing that required lawyers from Denver. "I think you've got the wrong number. We handled Margaret's estate in 2022. Richard Pearson, married to Margaret Reynolds Pearson, deceased February 15, 2022, correct?" My chest tightened. Nobody used Margaret's maiden name except her family back in Colorado. The same family she'd spent 30 years avoiding. "Yeah, that's right. But what's this about?" "Sir, your wife purchased a property in Colorado 3 years before her death. According to her explicit instructions, you were only to be informed after a mandatory 2-year waiting period." I sat down hard on my workbench, accidentally knocking over a coffee can full of bolts. They scattered across the concrete floor like metallic rain. "Margaret bought property with what money? Every major purchase in our 30-year marriage we discussed together." That's how you make a marriage work when you're living on a Lockheed pension and a teacher's retirement. What kind of property are we talking about? "Clearwater Ranch, 1,200 acres outside Durango. The deed is now in your name along with all mineral rights. Mr. Pearson, there's something else you need to know immediately. Natural gas deposits have been discovered on adjacent properties. Your land is receiving significant interest from energy companies." The phone felt heavy in my hand. Margaret had never mentioned wanting to go back to Colorado. Hell, she'd made me promise we'd never even visit there. Said her family was toxic, that the ranch held nothing but bad memories. Yet here was some lawyer telling me she'd secretly bought the place where she grew up. "How much are we talking about?" I asked, my engineer's brain automatically calculating the variables. "The property itself is worth approximately $3 million. The mineral rights based on preliminary geological surveys. Potentially 15 to 20 million. I had to repeat that number in my head. 15 to 20 million. Margaret and I had lived modestly our entire marriage. We'd saved enough for a comfortable retirement, but we weren't wealthy. Now this lawyer was telling me my dead wife had somehow made me a multi-millionaire. "Mr. Pearson, are you still there?" "Yeah, I'm here. This doesn't make sense. Where did Margaret get the money to buy a ranch? That information is contained in documents she left for you. There's also..." He paused. "A substantial collection of video messages she recorded. She was quite thorough in her preparations." Video messages. Even dead, Margaret was still surprising me. After 30 years of marriage, I thought I knew everything about my wife. Turns out I didn't know anything at all. "I need to see this place," I said. The drive from Phoenix to Durango took 6 hours. 6 hours of my mind spinning like a turbine with damaged bearings. Why would Margaret buy her family's ranch? She'd told me stories about growing up there. Her father drinking away the family money, her brothers Gordon and Nathan constantly fighting, the endless drama that drove her to Arizona the day she turned 18. But as I pulled through gates marked Clearwater Ranch in fresh black lettering, I could see this wasn't the rundown family property from Margaret's childhood stories. The main house was a beautiful 2-story log structure with a wraparound porch and new metal roofing. The outbuildings looked recently restored. Everything was painted, maintained, professional. This renovation had cost serious money. Money Margaret and I supposedly didn't have. I parked next to the house and tried the front door. Locked, but mounted beside the frame was a realtor's lockbox, the kind contractors use for secure access. Inside was a note in Margaret's careful handwriting. "For Rick, password is our anniversary date, plus my maiden name. I love you more than all the stars in the Colorado sky." That last line hit me like a punch to the solar plexus. Margaret used to say that to me during our early years together, back when we'd drive up to Flagstaff just to lie on a blanket and watch meteor showers. I hadn't heard her say it in probably 15 years. The front door opened into a great room with exposed timber beams and a massive stone fireplace. But what stopped me cold wasn't the architecture, it was the airplanes. Not real aircraft, but everywhere I looked, vintage aviation prints, detailed models of P-51 Mustangs and Piper Cubs, photographs of air shows, and aerobatic competitions framed in simple black frames. My wife's secret passion displayed like a private museum. Margaret had never shown the slightest interest in aviation during our marriage. When I'd mentioned maybe taking flying lessons after retirement, she'd said she preferred keeping her feet firmly planted on the ground. Yet here was evidence of a lifelong obsession I'd never suspected. On the coffee table sat a silver laptop with another note tucked under the screen. "Start here, my love. You have questions. I have answers." I opened the computer and entered the password, 091588 Reynolds. September 15th, 1988, the day we met at a Lockheed Company picnic. The screen came alive with a desktop containing a single folder labeled for Rick, 1 year of explanations. Inside were video files numbered 1 through 365, one for each day of a year. My hands shook as I double-clicked on day 1. Margaret's face filled the screen. Not the tired, pale version from her final months, but healthy, vibrant, clearly recorded some time ago. She was sitting in what looked like the cockpit of a small aircraft, wearing a headset around her neck, and that crooked smile I'd fallen in love with 32 years earlier. "Hello, sweetheart. If you're watching this, I'm gone and you've found the ranch despite my making you promise to stay away." She laughed softly, the same musical sound that used to make me forget whatever I was worried about. I should have known you'd ignore me. You never could resist investigating when something didn't add up. My throat closed up. Even from beyond the grave, she knew me perfectly. "I have 365 days of explanations to give you, Rick. A year of telling you things I should have shared while I was alive. Starting with why I bought back the ranch I swore I'd never return to." She looked down briefly, composing herself, then met the camera with those green eyes that had captivated me since day 1. 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with dilated cardiomyopathy. It's a genetic condition I inherited from my father, along with his stubborn streak and his love of bourbon, though I managed to avoid that particular family curse. The doctors gave me 2 to 5 years. I actually said what? Out loud to the empty room. My wife had been dying for 3 years, and she'd never told me. We'd promised each other no secrets about the important stuff. We'd held hands through my prostate scare in 2018, through her mother's funeral, through every major decision of our adult lives. Yet here she was, telling me about a terminal diagnosis after it was too late to do anything about it. "I know you're angry right now," she continued, as if she could read my thoughts from whatever dimension she was broadcasting from. "You have every right to be. But Rick, I didn't want our last years together poisoned by medical appointments and watching me slowly fade. I wanted to live fully with you until the end, not die slowly in front of you." She paused, adjusting something off camera. "So I used the time I had left to create something for you. You always said retirement was driving you crazy, that you needed projects to keep your mind sharp. Well, here's your project, my love." Before I could process this bombshell completely, gravel crunched outside. Through the window, I watched a black Escalade with Colorado plates pull up behind my rental truck. 3 men climbed out, all sharing similar features. Tall, lean, with the kind of aggressive posture that suggested they felt entitled to be wherever they happened to be standing. The Reynolds brothers had found me. I quickly paused Margaret's video and moved to the front door as heavy footsteps approached the porch. The oldest of the 3 knocked with the confidence of someone who expected immediate compliance. "Mr. Pearson, I'm Gordon Reynolds, Margaret's brother." I opened the door but kept my body blocking the entrance. "What can I do for you, Gordon?" Up close, he looked like a harder version of Margaret, same bone structure, but where her face had been kind, his was calculating. He wore an expensive suit that probably cost more than I'd spent on clothes in the last 5 years. "We need to talk about this property that you seem to think belongs to you." He gestured to the 2 men behind him. "These are my brothers Nathan and Lewis. We've come to resolve what appears to be a significant misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding on my end. My wife bought this place legally." Gordon's smile had all the warmth of a Denver winter. "Rick, may I call you Rick? I think you'll find the situation is considerably more complicated than that. Margaret purchased this ranch using funds that should have been held in trust for the Reynolds family. Our father was suffering from advanced dementia when he allegedly sold it. The transaction was invalid." Nathan stepped forward with a leather portfolio thick enough to choke a horse. "We've brought comprehensive documentation proving our claim. Medical records, psychiatric evaluations, witness statements, but we're reasonable men, Mr. Pearson. We're prepared to offer you a settlement that acknowledges your emotional attachment to the property." I studied the papers he held out. Legal documents, court filings, medical records supposedly proving their father wasn't competent when Margaret bought the ranch. It was an impressive stack of paperwork, the kind designed to intimidate people who couldn't afford teams of lawyers. How much? I asked directly. Gordon seemed surprised by my bluntness. In his world, people probably danced around money talks. Excuse me? How much are you offering for my emotional attachment? Lewis spoke for the first time, his voice smooth as motor oil. 200,000. That's more than generous for a property we could simply reclaim through the courts. I almost laughed out loud. These guys had no idea what they were dealing with. Margaret might not have told me about the ranch, but she'd married an engineer. I know how to analyze problems, gather data, and calculate stress loads. Something about their story was already showing structural weaknesses. I'll need to review everything with my own attorney, I told them. Give me 48 hours. Gordon's mask slipped slightly, revealing the predator underneath. Mr. Pearson, I don't think you fully comprehend the urgency of this situation. Natural gas deposits have been discovered throughout this region. Energy companies are making substantial offers on surrounding properties. Every day you delay costs all of us considerable money. There it was. The real reason they'd materialized 2 years after Margaret's death. This wasn't about family sentiment or invalid transactions. It was about money. Lots of it. Like I said, I need time to think. After they left, promising to return in exactly 48 hours for my decision, I called my daughter Jennifer at her software engineering job in Denver. Dad, what's up? I'm in the middle of debugging some code. Honey, I need to ask you something important. Did your mother ever mention buying property in Colorado? Long pause. Mom bought property. When? With what money? Apparently 3 years ago, right around the time she was secretly dying of heart disease that she never told either of us about. She was sick. Dad, what the hell are you talking about? I explained everything. The lawyer's call, the ranch, Margaret's video confession, the Reynolds brothers showing up like buzzards circling roadkill. This sounds completely insane, Dad. Mom never talked about going back to Colorado. She always said her family there was toxic waste. Well, turns out your mother was full of surprises. That night, I watched day 2 of Margaret's videos. In day 2, Margaret explained how she'd discovered that her father wasn't actually senile when he sold the ranch. He was desperate. Gordon and his brothers had been systematically draining his accounts for years, leaving the old man broke and bitter. The ranch sale wasn't invalid. It was his only chance to get something for the property before his sons took that too. Your grandfather was many things, Rick. Margaret said from the cockpit of what I was beginning to realize was a real airplane. He was a drunk, a terrible father, and probably not a very good man. But he wasn't stupid, and he wasn't senile. He knew exactly what his boys were doing to him financially. She pulled out a manila folder thick with documents. I hired a private investigator 3 years ago to document everything. Gordon, Nathan, and Lewis have been embezzling from family accounts since 2015. Power of attorney abuse, unauthorized transfers, phantom investment schemes, the works. My engineering brain immediately started cataloging the implications. If Margaret had evidence of financial crimes, that changed the entire equation. The Reynolds brothers weren't just greedy relatives trying to steal an inheritance. They were criminals trying to cover their tracks. But that's not all, my love. Margaret continued in the video. Remember how I used to joke that you married a teacher because you needed someone smarter than you? She grinned, that mischievous smile I remembered from our dating days. Well, your wife did her homework on more than just family finances. The camera moved as she carried it outside the aircraft. Through the window I could see she was in some kind of hangar, and sunlight streamed in from open doors at both ends. This is my secret workshop, Rick. The place where I've been preparing for the future you and I are going to build together. She panned the camera across what looked like a fully equipped aircraft restoration facility. Tools hung in precise order on pegboards. Parts were organized in labeled bins, and in the center of the space sat the most beautiful airplane I'd ever seen. Meet Lady Margaret, she said, the pride evident in her voice. 1947 Piper JY3 Cub, completely restored to airworthiness standards. She was my father's plane before the drinking got bad and he had to sell her. I tracked her down through 6 different owners and spent 2 years bringing her back to life. I had to pause the video. My wife, the woman who claimed she was afraid of flying, who'd never shown interest in anything more mechanical than changing light bulbs, had secretly restored a vintage aircraft. The level of skill and knowledge required was staggering. When I resumed playback, Margaret was sitting in the pilot's seat, her hands resting on the control yoke like she'd been born to it. I've been taking flying lessons for 5 years, Rick. Every time I told you I was going to book club or visiting my friend Sandra, I was actually at the airport learning to fly. I have my private pilot license, my instrument rating, and 847 hours of flight time. My wife had been living a complete double life, and I'd been too wrapped up in retirement adjustments to notice. What kind of husband doesn't realize his wife of 30 years has developed an entirely new identity? "You're wondering how you missed all this," she said, once again reading my thoughts with supernatural accuracy. The truth is, I got very good at compartmentalizing. The sick Margaret who was preparing to die, the secret pilot Margaret who was learning to fly, and the everyday Margaret who was just trying to live normally with the man she loved. She leaned closer to the camera. "But here's what you need to know for tomorrow when my brothers come back. They think they're dealing with a grieving widower who's out of his depth. They have no idea they're actually facing an aerospace engineer who's married to a woman who spent 3 years preparing for exactly this battle." The video ended with Margaret blowing me a kiss from the cockpit. I sat back in the leather chair, my mind reeling. Then I heard vehicles approaching outside. Through the window, I watched the black Escalade return, but this time it was followed by a white pickup truck and a silver sedan. The Reynolds brothers had brought reinforcements. I counted 6 men getting out of the vehicles: Gordon, Nathan, and Lewis, plus 3 others I didn't recognize. One was carrying a surveyor's transit, another had legal documents, and the third looked like security muscle. This wasn't a negotiation, this was a takeover attempt. I grabbed the laptop and headed for the back of the house looking for another exit. In the kitchen, I found a door leading to what appeared to be a mudroom. Beyond that was a utility door opening onto a covered walkway connecting the main house to a large barn. Following Margaret's directions from her videos, I made my way to the barn where she'd shown me the aircraft. The building was even more impressive in person, climate-controlled, professionally lit with enough space for multiple aircraft. But Lady Margaret held center stage, her yellow and black paint scheme gleaming under the overhead lights. I found what Margaret had directed me to in Day 3's video, a hidden office behind a false wall that looked like standard tool storage. Inside was a climate-controlled room filled with filing cabinets, computer equipment, and enough documentation to fill a library. Margaret had created a war room. The walls were covered with organizational charts showing the Reynolds family's financial structure, maps of the natural gas formations beneath Clearwater Ranch, and timelines documenting years of embezzlement. She'd built a case that would make any prosecutor salivate. But the centerpiece was a geological survey report commissioned by Margaret herself. According to 3 independent analyses, the natural gas deposits beneath Clearwater Ranch were significantly larger than anyone realized. The energy companies were lowballing their offers because they didn't understand the true scope of what lay beneath my property. My 1,200 acres were sitting on top of reserves worth at least $25 million. Possibly more. I was studying the geological maps when my phone buzzed. Text message from Jennifer. "Dad, Uncle Gordon called me again. He's offering me $75,000 to convince you to be reasonable about some family property. Says you're being stubborn about something that affects everyone. What's really going on?" They were going after my daughter now. These bastards weren't just thieves. They were manipulators willing to use family connections to get what they wanted. Time to show them what this aerospace engineer had learned from his secretly brilliant wife. I called Jennifer back immediately. "Dad, what's this about Uncle Gordon offering me money?" "Honey, those aren't your uncles. They're criminals who've been stealing from their father for years. Don't take any money, don't sign anything, and don't believe a word they tell you." "But they said you were being unreasonable about Mom's family property. Your mother's family property is worth $25 million in natural gas rights. They're offering me $200,000 and you $75,000 for something they know is worth a fortune." Silence on the other end. Finally, "Holy shit, Dad," language Jennifer, "sorry, but seriously, $25 million? Your mother spent 3 years documenting their financial crimes and proving this ranch's real value. She left me everything I need to destroy them legally." While we talked, I heard vehicles starting up outside. Through a gap in the barn siding, I watched the Reynolds convoy departing. They'd probably figured out I wasn't in the main house and decided to regroup. That evening, I called the Colorado Attorney General's office and the FBI's Denver field office. I also contacted 3 different energy companies to inform them that Clearwater Ranch was available for mineral rights leasing, but only under strict environmental guidelines. The bidding war started within hours. By Wednesday morning, I had preliminary offers ranging from 18 to 22 million for the mineral rights alone. By Thursday, Gordon Reynolds was calling me every 2 hours, his tone increasingly desperate. "Rick, we need to resolve this situation immediately. Our attorney says there are federal investigators asking questions about family financial matters. Gee, I wonder how that happened. Gordon showed up at the ranch gate that same evening with a third attorney I'd never seen before. I watched from the porch as they stood outside the locked gate. Gordon pointing at the house, his face red even from that distance. I didn't go out. I just let them stand there. Sometimes the best move is doing nothing and letting desperate men talk themselves into bigger mistakes. By Thursday night, Gordon had left 11 voicemails, each one angrier than the last. This doesn't have to get ugly. We can work something out that benefits everyone. Gordon, you offered me $200,000 for property worth $25 million. You tried to manipulate my daughter with pocket change. You brought a surveyor to my ranch like you already owned it. Exactly which part of that was supposed to benefit me? Friday morning, FBI agents arrested all three Reynolds brothers on charges of elder abuse, embezzlement, and wire fraud. The Denver Post ran the story with the headline, "Prominent Attorney Family Accused of Decade-Long Theft Scheme." That afternoon, I had my first flying lesson in Lady Margaret. The instructor was a retired Air Force pilot named Chuck, who ran a small flight school in Durango. Margaret had already paid for 20 hours of instruction as part of what she called my transition training. "Your wife was one hell of a pilot," Chuck told me as we pre-flighted the Piper Cub. "Natural stick and rudder skills, excellent judgment, and she could land this bird in a crosswind that would scare most commercial pilots." Sitting in Margaret's pilot seat for the first time, I felt her presence like she was right there beside me. The controls she'd mastered, the view she'd seen countless times during her secret training flights, the freedom she'd discovered in the sky while keeping her feet firmly planted in our marriage. "You ready to see what she saw?" Chuck asked from the instructor's seat. We lifted off into crystal-clear Colorado sky, the San Juan Mountains spreading out below us like a geological textbook. As we climbed through 8,500 feet, I understood why Margaret had fallen in love with flying. Up here, problems looked smaller, perspectives changed. You could see the big picture instead of getting lost in surface details. "Your wife left you a letter," Chuck said through the headset. "She asked me to give it to you after your first solo flight. How many hours until I can solo? At your age, with your technical background, probably 15 to 20 hours. She estimated you'd be ready by Christmas." Even planning my flight training timeline, Margaret had been thinking ahead. The final energy company offer came through the following Monday. $24.7 million for a 30-year lease on mineral rights, with environmental protections that would have made Margaret proud. I accepted immediately. I kept the ranch. Sold enough mineral rights to set up trust funds for Jennifer and any future grandchildren. Used the rest to establish the Margaret Reynolds Pearson Memorial Aviation Foundation, offering flight training scholarships to young women interested in aviation careers. 6 months later, I soloed Lady Margaret on a perfect spring morning when the valley was green and the mountains were still snow-capped. Chuck had been right about Margaret's timeline. I was ready exactly when she'd predicted I would be. The Reynolds brothers each received federal prison sentences ranging from 4 to 7 years. Their law licenses were permanently revoked, and their assets were seized for restitution to other elderly victims they'd defrauded over the years. Jennifer drove down from Denver the weekend after the arrests. We sat on the porch together, drinking coffee, watching Lady Margaret's wingtips catch the morning light through the hangar doors. She didn't say much, neither did I. Some things don't need words. Gordon died in federal prison 2 years into his sentence. Heart attack, just like Margaret. Some genetic curses follow you no matter how much money you steal. I live at Clearwater Ranch, now full-time. Jennifer visits when she can, usually bringing her latest boyfriend for me to terrorize with aviation stories and ranch work. She's learning to fly, Lady Margaret too says. It makes her feel connected to the mother she's still discovering. Every morning I sit on the ranch house porch with my coffee and watch the sun come up over the mountains Margaret loved. Sometimes I fire up the Piper Cub and take a flight over the valley, seeing the land from her perspective, understanding why she fought so hard to protect it. The Forbidden Ranch taught me that love doesn't end with death. Sometimes it just gets more sophisticated about how it takes care of you. Margaret spent her final 3 years building a fortress around my future, anticipating every threat, preparing every defense, ensuring that her death would be not an ending but a transformation. She turned her family's place of pain into my sanctuary of possibility. The video messages eventually ended. Day 365 was Margaret sitting in our Phoenix kitchen, recorded just weeks before she died. "I hope you've learned to fly by now, my love. I hope you've found peace at the ranch. I hope you understand that every secret I kept, every lie I told, every moment of deception was really an act of the deepest love I could give you. Take care of our mountain. Take care of yourself. Take care of Jennifer. And remember, I'll always be your co-pilot. Listen, if you're going through something tough right now, if you feel like the people closest to you are keeping secrets or the world seems stacked against you, remember this. Sometimes the love in your life is working harder than you know. Sometimes justice takes time, but when it comes, it's worth everything you went through to get there. Your story isn't over yet. Keep flying. If this story meant something to you, you already know why. Pass it on to someone who needs to hear it today.